Dear friends, today we're going to dive into a familiar yet emotionally complex topic. Behind the words, "I only see you as a friend." Many of you have probably heard this phrase before, or perhaps you've even been the main character in this situation. You've poured your heart into someone. You've shown care, affection, and even sacrificed your own needs to make her happy. You've been there for her when she was sad, lonely, or simply needed a shoulder to lean on. But then one day, she looks you straight in the eyes and says, "I only see you as a friend." That taunt may be short, but it carries enough weight to shatter an entire world of hope you've built over time. What lies behind those words? Is it the harsh truth that you were never really a priority in her heart? Or is it a gentle way for her to turn down your feelings without causing too much hurt? As a psychology lecturer, I've listened to countless stories like this. Some of you, after hearing those words, blame yourselves, thinking you're not good enough, not handsome enough, or not accomplished enough to keep her by your side. Others choose to stay as just friends, holding on to the hope that one day she'll realize your genuine love. And then there are those who decide to walk away, cutting off all contact to heal their wounded hearts. But you know what? The phrase, "I only see you as a friend," isn't just a simple rejection. Behind it are layers of meaning and unspoken truths. If we don't take a deeper look, we risk getting stuck in an endless cycle of hurt and hope. Could it be that she truly sees you as just a good friend? Or are you merely a temporary option when she feels lonely? Is it possible that you're just a backup plan, a placeholder she turns to during moments of vulnerability? In today's video, we'll carefully unpack the psychological aspects hidden behind this sentence. Together, we'll analyze, why did she say that? What should you do after hearing these words? And most importantly, how can you reclaim your self-worth and move forward with strength? Love is a beautiful thing, my friends, but it can also be incredibly painful if we remain stuck in unclear relationships. Sometimes the words, "I only see you as a friend," are not just an ending. They're also a sign that it's time for you to step back, let go, and move on. Let's explore this topic together. I believe that by the end of this video, you'll have the answers you've been searching for. More importantly, you'll learn to value yourself in ways you might not have before. Behind the words, "I only see you as a friend," when love isn't a story for two. Let's get started. She can't overcome the heartbreak, the hidden truth behind it. You know, the ultimate goal for each of us is to live, to survive, and to be happy. But along that journey, many people stumble and fall because of deep emotional wounds. These wounds don't just stop at feelings. They shape how we see the world, how we perceive relationships, and even how we view ourselves. When someone experiences a major emotional shock, there are often clear signs. First is selective forgetting. They try to push painful memories into some hidden corner of their mind, but it's not that simple. Some wounds leave scars so deep that no matter how hard they try to forget, they just can't erase them. They hold on to the beautiful moments and try their best to forget the ones that drain them emotionally. Next comes sensitivity. A casual comment, a fleeting glance, or even a soft autumn breeze can trigger a flood of emotions. Sensitivity isn't inherently bad. It helps us understand and empathize with others. But when it becomes excessive, it turns into a psychological burden that's incredibly hard to shake off. Then there's avoidance behavior. People who are emotionally hurt often avoid anything that reminds them of their pain, a familiar street, a particular song, or even a certain type of person. They aren't avoiding these things because they're weak. They do it because the pain is too great. and they're scared of reliving it again. Negative moods are another sign. They lose interest in things they used to enjoy. They get irritated easily, or they sink into sadness for no apparent reason. They often suffer from insomnia, lying awake at night as their thoughts spiral in chaos. And of course, prolonged insomnia starts taking a toll on both physical and mental health. Sudden personality changes are also common. Someone who used to be cheerful and lively might suddenly become quiet and reserved. An optimist might turn into a pessimist. But sometimes, these shocks can be a turning point. Some people emerge stronger, more resilient, and more determined to improve themselves. Resentment often festers within. They might harbor anger towards themselves, towards others, and towards the situation they've been placed in. If this resentment isn't released or managed properly, it can spiral into a never-ending cycle of negativity. Social withdrawal is another common symptom. They struggle to connect with others, they feel out of place in social settings, and they gradually retreat into their own isolated world. Excessive anxiety also manifests. Whether it's something small or significant, every situation feels heavy, uncertain, and frightening. They overthink, catastrophize, and sometimes even develop anxiety disorders. The smallest sound or sudden change can leave them feeling panicked and unsettled. The final and most severe sign is self-harm. People who are deeply emotionally scarred often carry thoughts of self-loathing. They feel undeserving of love or happiness, and sometimes they resort to harmful behaviors as a way to cope with the emotional turmoil inside them. So, what causes these signs and behaviors? Perhaps she's just gone through a heartbreaking breakup or an abrupt ending to a relationship without closure. Maybe you were just someone who showed up at the right time when she was lonely and vulnerable. A temporary fix for an empty space she couldn't fill herself. Or perhaps she's simply not ready for a new relationship because the wounds from the past are still too raw, too deep. Understanding these signs and their causes isn't about assigning blame. It's about recognizing the truth, healing, and finding a way to move forward. Whether it's you or someone you care about, remember, emotional wounds take time, patience, and self-love to heal. And sometimes walking away is the most loving thing you can do for yourself. Dear friends, when we talk about the trauma after an emotional shock, some people choose to face it, and some choose to avoid it. But there is a very special type of avoidance. That is, looking for someone to fill the void in their heart. Imagine she has just come out of a broken relationship. Her heart is full of wounds, broken pieces that have not been healed. And then, you appear. You bring care, warmth, and you are willing to listen to all her stories. At first, you think this is an opportunity. You hope that your sincerity will help her heal, that your feelings are big enough to fill those voids. But then, you gradually realize that every time she is sad, every time she feels lonely, you are the first person she turns to. But when everything is stable, when her life is full of joy, you are forgotten. Have you ever asked yourself, what am I in her life? Am I a place to stay or just a temporary stop? This is a common situation in relationships today. And my friends, it is not only a story of unrequited love, but also a story of hearts that have not yet truly healed. So how do you realize that you are just a temporary choice? How do you understand that you are just a place for her to come when she is empty? And most importantly, how do you get out of this ambiguous and hurtful cycle? Let's dive into the saying, you are just a place to fill the void when she feels lonely. Together, we will unpack the signs and emotions behind this story and find out how you can protect your heart. You're just filling the void when she feels lonely. This is an incredibly common situation in relationships today. You meet a girl, you invest so much emotion, care, and even sacrifice for her. You're always there when she's sad, lonely, or needs a shoulder to lean on. But one day you realize you're just a temporary solution for her moments of emptiness. A name she remembers only when there's no one else around. And that realization stings, doesn't it? Her ex still lives in her mind. The truth is, sometimes you're not the only one in her heart. Her ex might still be a shadow that looms large in her mind. The memories, the sweet moments, or even the pain from her past relationship still linger whenever she feels empty. You might notice this in the way she occasionally mentions him in casual conversations, even unintentionally. Maybe it's a song that brings back a memory, a familiar cafe, or even just a distant look in her eyes while she sits across from you. And you'll realize, no matter how much effort you put in, sometimes her heart just isn't entirely yours. This isn't your fault, and it's not hers either. Her heart is still healing, and that process takes time. Time you might not be able to give. The ambiguity in your relationship. When she's not ready for a new relationship, ambiguity becomes the defining feature. On one hand, she wants you close. On the other hand, she keeps a distance. There are moments she's warm, caring, and affectionate. But then there are moments when she quietly withdraws, without explanation. This ambiguity feels like a half-open door. You don't know whether to step inside or turn away. You start asking yourself, am I wasting my time? Does she actually have feelings for me? But the truth is, this ambiguity will never truly disappear unless she's ready to leave her past behind. The unfair standards of the past. Another common issue is being compared to her ex. Sometimes she unconsciously holds you to the standards set by someone who isn't even in her life anymore. Whether it's the way you text, the way you show affection, or the way you respond to conflict, she compares it all. And let's be honest, that's unfair to you. Every person loves in their own way, brings their own unique strengths to a relationship. But when she's still measuring you against someone from her past, it creates a gap, one you can't fill no matter how hard you try. You'll find yourself constantly trying to improve, to be good enough, to meet these invisible expectations. But if she isn't ready to let go of the past, you'll never truly be able to fill that space in her heart. She only reaches out when she feels lonely or needs comfort. Have you ever noticed that she only texts or calls you when she feels lonely, lost, or needs someone to vent to? After a long, stressful day, an argument with her friends, or a quiet weekend evening with no plans, you become the easiest, safest option. She knows you'll always be there. You'll listen, you'll console her, and you'll never say no. But here's the heartbreaking part. When her life is happy, stable, and full of excitement, you fade into the background. The messages become sparse, the calls disappear, and the plans never materialize. She might pour her heart out to you when she's sad, share her worries and fears. But when something good happens, you're never the first person she thinks of to share the joy with. This leaves you feeling hollow, doesn't it? Like you're only valuable in her life when she needs emotional support, not when she's truly happy. The dangerous cycle of hope. The most dangerous part of this dynamic is the hope it creates. You start believing that if you're there for her enough times, if you're kind enough, patient enough, she'll eventually realize your worth. You hope she'll see you as someone who can bring her real love and security. But in reality, you're trapped in an endless cycle of vague promises and unspoken words. The pattern is familiar. She texts you late at night, confessing her loneliness and sadness. You rush to her side, you comfort her, you play the role of the hero. But when morning comes and she feels better, you're pushed back into the shadows. You're no longer the priority, just a temporary fix, a life raft she clings to when the waters get rough. This cycle isn't just emotionally draining, it's damaging. You start asking yourself, does she really care about me? Am I wasting my time on something that will never lead anywhere? And deep down, you already know the answer. You're just afraid to admit it to yourself. The hard truth. The truth is, if you're only a placeholder in someone's life, you deserve better. You deserve someone who chooses you, not out of convenience, not out of loneliness, but out of genuine love and appreciation. It's not your job to heal her wounds, nor is it your responsibility to fill the void left by someone else. So, if you find yourself stuck in this pattern, it might be time to let go. Walk away with your head held high, knowing that you gave your best, and trust that someone out there will see your worth, not as a backup plan, but as their first and only choice. You deserve to be someone's priority, not their option. Remember that. Dear friends, after we talked about being a place to fill the void when she feels lonely, I believe many of you have begun to realize one thing. Sometimes you are not her first choice, but just a temporary support. But the story does not stop there. Have you ever asked yourself, why can't she open up to me completely? What did I do wrong? Am I sincere enough? Do I give her a sense of security? A sense of security in a relationship is not something that can be built in a day or two. It comes from trust, sincerity, and the way you make her feel protected both mentally and emotionally. But if you realize that, despite your best efforts, she still keeps an invisible distance from you, then maybe you have not really given her that sense of security. She may feel that you are trustworthy, but not enough for her to entrust her heart. She may cherish you, but still hesitate to think about a long-term future with you. And guys, this is a problem that many people encounter in love. You can give her all your time, love, and care, but if you are not sincere and not stable enough for her to rely on, everything will just stop at, "You are a good person, but I am not ready." So, how can you understand where you went wrong? How can you know if you have brought her enough security? And more importantly, how can you become more than just a stopover, but a real destination? Let's move on to the next topic. When you are not sincere and safe enough for her to rely on. Together, we will look straight at the problem, understand the signs, and find the right direction so that you are no longer stuck in this ambiguous relationship. When you are not sincere or secure enough for her to rely on. It sounds heartbreaking, doesn't it? But this is a situation many people find themselves in when it comes to relationships. Have you ever asked yourself, what did I do wrong? Why can't I make her feel secure? If you have, then this message is for you. You see, feelings of insecurity in love don't appear out of nowhere. They often stem from wounds in the past, a childhood lacking in affection, or a previous relationship filled with hurt and disappointment. And then, when you step into a new relationship, you carry with you fears, doubts, and the haunting thought of being abandoned again. You begin to have conflicting thoughts. She loves me sincerely, and then, I'm not good enough for this love. And so you start trying to do everything, changing yourself, compromising your own needs, and sometimes even losing your true self, just to keep her by your side. But love isn't about shouldering a heavy burden or blind sacrifice. You try too hard to please her. People who feel insecure in love often have very clear behaviors. First, you constantly try to please her. You're willing to change who you are, set aside your own needs, and do whatever it takes to keep her happy. But do you know what happens then? You get tired. You feel drained and lost because you've given so much of yourself away. You become overly sensitive. Next, you become extremely sensitive. A delayed text message, an offhand comment, or even a fleeting expression on her face can send you spiraling into hours of overthinking. Is she getting bored of me? Did I do something wrong? You ask yourself repeatedly. You fall into a cycle of negative thoughts, self-blame, and emotional exhaustion. You compare yourself to others. Another sign of insecurity is the constant comparison. If another guy appears in her life, be it a coworker, a friend, or just someone she randomly mentions, you start feeling anxious and insecure. What does he have that I don't? Am I enough for her? But listen, she chose you because of who you are. Constant comparison will only make you shrink away from your true value instead of shining with your unique qualities. You use negative tactics to gain attention. Sometimes insecurity drives people to adopt negative behaviors to get attention. You might resort to sulking, blaming, or even harming yourself just to make her notice you. But these actions don't draw her closer. They push her away. Love isn't about emotional blackmail. It isn't about sacrificing your own peace just to get scraps of affection. You try to control her. Another behavior you might not realize is the need to control her. You want to know where she is, who she's with, and what she's doing at every moment. You check her messages, question her friends, and get uneasy when she spends time with others without you. But control isn't love. It's fear. It's a reflection of your insecurity, not your affection. A healthy relationship needs space, respect, and trust from both sides. You become overly dependent on her. Your happiness begins to revolve entirely around her. When she's happy, you're happy. When she's upset, your whole world crumbles. But love isn't about dependence. It's about sharing. You need to have your own life, your hobbies, your goals, your friends. When you can create happiness for yourself, only then can you share true happiness with someone else. You set unrealistic expectations. Insecurity often leads people to place high, sometimes unrealistic, expectations on their partner. You expect her to always be available, always show love, and always prioritize you above everything else. But she's her own person too. She has her struggles, her pressures, and her responsibilities. These sky-high expectations often lead to disappointment and, over time, resentment. Guys, when it comes to honesty and security in a relationship, we all know that these are the most important foundations. But sometimes you've been honest. You've tried your best, you've done everything you could, and yet things still don't go as you expected. She's still keeping her distance. She's still not fully open. And worse, you're starting to realize a harsh truth. You're not a priority in her life. This is a heartbreaking moment, isn't it? It feels like you're chasing a train that you know will never stop at your station. You're always there when she needs you. But when you need her, she's nowhere. She may appreciate you, but she doesn't appreciate you enough to make you an important part of her world. You're not the first person she thinks of when something good happens. You are not the person she turns to when she is sad. And guys, true love is not a waiting game. You can't just stand on the sidelines and hope that one day she will realize that you are the one worth giving her heart to. So how do you know that you are just an option in her heart? How do you know that you are not a priority, but just a backup plan? We will dive into the next topic together. You are just an option. Clear signs that she is not a priority. Be prepared, because sometimes the truth will hurt. But trust me, the truth is also the only thing that will help you stay strong and move on. You're just an option. Clear signs you're not a priority. I know. Sometimes the truth hurts, but it's also the truth that wakes you up, helping you step out of relationships that aren't worth your time and energy. They only show up when they need something. You know, in life, we all encounter people like this. They only come to you when they need something. It could be a dinner date, a casual chat to relieve their sadness, or even a shoulder to cry on when they feel empty. To be honest, I've been in relationships like this too. Texts arrive when she has no one else to hang out with. Invitations come when her preferred plans have fallen through. But when you need someone, when you're struggling, when you're at your lowest, they always have an excuse to be absent. The hard truth is, you're not her priority. You're just a temporary fix, a backup plan. And being in such a relationship will only exhaust you and hurt you in the long run. They only call to vent about their problems. Another clear sign is when she only reaches out to talk about her problems. She might start the conversation with a polite, "Hey, how have you been?" But shortly after, it's all about her struggles, her issues, and her sadness. You become an unwilling listener, a wall she vents her emotions onto. And the harsh reality is, she doesn't really care how you're doing. She's not asking how you feel or what you might be going through. A healthy relationship is about giving and receiving. Don't trade your inner peace just to become an emotional dumpster for someone else. They disappear during your important moments. Think about the moments when you really needed someone. When you were heartbroken, sick, or simply needed someone to talk to. Who was there holding your hand, staying by your side, and helping you through it all? Someone who truly cares about you will never leave you alone in your darkest moments. But when you're just an option, she will disappear. She'll have excuses, she'll delay, and you'll realize you're having a conversation with yourself in your own story. You're not the first to know about big events in third wave. If you are important to her, you'll be the first person she thinks of when something big happens, whether it's good news, a milestone, or even bad news. But if you find out about these moments through social media, mutual friends, or some third-party source, instead of hearing it directly from her, then let me tell you, you're not a priority. People naturally share their most meaningful experiences with those who matter most to them. If you're being kept out of that circle, it's time to ask yourself, why am I still here? It's a one-sided relationship. You give, she takes. At its core, this relationship feels incredibly unbalanced. You're the one who gives your time, your energy, your emotions. You're always available, always listening, always caring. But what do you get in return? Indifference, half-hearted responses, silence when you need her the most. A real relationship requires balance, where both people invest, nurture, and cherish each other. Love isn't a one-way street. You deserve so much more. Here's the thing. You deserve to be loved. You deserve to be valued. You deserve to be someone's priority. If you realize that you're just an option in someone's life, have the courage to walk away. Don't cling to a relationship only where you're not appreciated, where you're only there to fill in the gaps when she's lonely. Focus on yourself. Invest in your growth, your happiness, and your well-being. Because when you shine, when you become the best version of yourself, you'll naturally attract someone who sees your worth, someone who chooses you every single day, not just when it's convenient for them. Love isn't about sacrificing yourself for scraps of attention. It's about two people choosing each other wholeheartedly, building something strong and balanced together. If you're in a relationship where you constantly feel like you're just an option, be brave enough to let go. Remember, you deserve love, you deserve respect, and above all, you deserve happiness. Dear friends, by now, you must have realized some of the obvious signs that you are just a temporary option in someone's heart. Yes, sometimes the truth is very cruel, but it is also the key to help you escape from an unworthy relationship. I know stepping out of this comfort zone is not easy. We are all afraid of the feeling of emptiness when that person is no longer by our side. But you know what? It is better to be alone but peaceful than to stay in a relationship where you are always afraid, always waiting, and always wondering, am I good enough? This life is short, friends. Your time is precious, and your heart is also worthy of respect. Stop, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, am I happy? Am I being treated as I am worth? If the answer is no, then maybe it is time for you to let go. Letting go is not a failure. It's a way to respect yourself. It's a way to open the door for better things to come into your life. And you know what's the best part? When you learn to love and respect yourself, you naturally attract people who respect you. Not as an option, not as a backup plan, but as an important person, a priority in someone's life. Remember, you deserve a love that is whole, sincere, and complete. Don't ever compromise your self-respect just to hold on to a half-hearted relationship. So, stand up strong, move on, and become the best version of yourself, because you are worth it. When she says, I just see you as a friend. Hey everyone, today we're diving into a topic that many of us have either heard or experienced firsthand. I just see you as a friend. It's a sentence that carries so much weight, isn't it? You've poured your heart, your time, and your affection into this relationship. You've been there for her during her loneliest moments, offered support when she needed it most, and hoped that one day she'd see you in the same light. But then, she looks you in the eyes and says, I just want us to be friends. It's painful, it's disheartening, and it feels like everything you've built has come crashing down. But here's the thing. Instead of drowning in disappointment and self-pity, this is your chance to focus on yourself. It's not just about healing. It's about rediscovering your value, your strength, and your confidence. Rediscover yourself on every level. First, ask yourself, what do I really want? What have I overlooked in my own life while focusing so much on this relationship? Sometimes we get so caught up in chasing love that we forget about ourselves. Take this moment as an opportunity to learn something new. Pick up a hobby, join a class, or try something you've always been curious about. Every step you take outside your comfort zone brings you closer to the best version of yourself. Don't let others decide your life for you. We often give too much weight to other people's opinions. Someone might tell you to keep trying, while someone else might say to walk away immediately. But here's the truth. Only you know what's right for you. If you need time alone to heal, take it. If you need space to breathe and think, embrace it. Don't let societal expectations or others' opinions force you into a box. Happiness comes from living in alignment with your own values, not from pleasing everyone around you. Take care of yourself, mind and body. Self-care isn't selfish, it's essential. A balanced diet, quality sleep, regular exercise, and moments of stillness can do wonders for your mental and emotional health. Take at least 2 hours a week to do something just for you. Read a book, write in a journal, go for a walk, or simply sit quietly and watch the sunset. These small moments of peace will remind you that happiness doesn't come from a relationship. It comes from within you. Practice compassion for yourself and others. When you show kindness to others, you also begin to heal yourself. But remember, compassion starts with you. Stop blaming yourself for how things turned out. Stop thinking you're not good enough or not worthy of love. Stand in front of the mirror every day and remind yourself, I am worthy of love and respect. Stop comparing yourself to others. Comparison is a dangerous trap. You might find yourself wondering, is he better than me? Am I not good enough? But listen, every person has their own journey, their own value, and their own story. Comparing yourself to others will only make you feel more insecure and unworthy. Instead, focus on what you have and build on it. You'll soon realize that your uniqueness is your greatest strength. Reevaluate your core values. Ask yourself, what truly matters to me? Who do I want to become? Am I living in alignment with my values? These questions aren't easy to answer, but they're essential. When you understand yourself deeply, you'll stop seeking validation from others. Your happiness won't depend on someone else's love or acceptance. It will come from within you. And that's when you become unstoppable. Love isn't everything, but it's something beautiful. Love is beautiful, but it shouldn't be the center of your world. Happiness comes from friendships, family, meaningful work, and those quiet moments where you're simply at peace with yourself. If she says, I just see you as a friend, it doesn't mean you're not good enough. It just means your paths aren't aligned, and that's okay. Keep moving forward. Take this experience as a lesson, not a failure. Keep growing, keep improving, and keep becoming the person you're proud of. And trust me, when you shine as your best self, you'll naturally attract someone who sees your worth, values your presence, and chooses you every single day. Thank you for listening. If you found this video helpful, leave a comment and share your thoughts. Remember, you are enough, you are worthy, and you deserve love that's wholehearted and true. See you in the next video. Take care, stay confident, and keep walking forward with your head held high.